So it's a new year, 2021, and thank heavens it's finally upon us. I think a lot of us would agree that we'd like to do this one a little bit differently than last year. I'm Jason Cipriani, and this is Jason Perlow. And on today's Jason Squared, we're going to talk about all the things that Jason and I are going to be doing new and different this year, hopefully setting the year off right. All right, Perlow, I guess we could kind of call this a tech resolution episode, something we're going to openly commit to and hopefully have some accountability for holding us to it throughout 2021. So what's the first thing on your list this year?
Well, the first thing on my list is one that I wanted to get done last year, but I couldn't get it done. I had planned out a solar energy install for my home. I was going to put all these panels up on my roof. I was going to do
Yeah.
Tesla backup battery. This is in anticipation of someday having to replace my cars. With electric vehicles. And in Florida, we have all this sunshine. I wanted to make it work for me. Unfortunately, we had the pandemic, and I just couldn't justify spending that kind of money on a solar power system. Because we're
Sure.
talking tens of thousands of dollars here in terms of
Yeah.
investment. With everything that was going on, it didn't make sense. But this year, my full-time employment situation is more stable. Things appear to be getting better, with the COVID situation and whatnot. So I think I'm going to commit to actually getting that solar roof installed in 2021.
So
Absolutely.
are you doing the Tesla roof tiles, or are you just doing the big solar panels, that
It's
are
interesting.
pretty common?
Originally, we were going to do the original solar array on top of a
Yeah.
roof. But then
Gotcha.
after this year, we had some inspections done on the property in terms of, the engineering studies and stuff that had to get done prior to installing this stuff. And it turns out the entire roof needs to be replaced because the house is 28
Gotcha.
years old. So it's actually more economical to do a full roof replacement with Tesla than it is to build
Yeah.
a roof and then to add the panels. But unfortunately, in Florida, we're still waiting on some wind. I guess I wouldn't call it mitigation, but Tesla's qualifications, certifications for South Florida. Originally, they wanted 165-mile-hour certification structural. Now they want 170, so that's extending that a
Jeez.
couple months. So it'll be a couple months before I think we can even think about putting one in. But we're getting to the point where we're gonna have to do our engineering and get a whole bunch of stuff ready to do it, and I'm
That's
looking forward
exciting.
to it.
I've seen a lot of pictures. I own a Tesla car and have had my order in for Tesla Solar for I'm coming up on a year and a half, and they just have not expanded to my area. I've had my deposit in, system picked out. I'm just waiting for them to have availability here. But as part of that, I'm part of a lot of Tesla groups on Reddit and Facebook and whatever else. And so I see a lot of pictures of the solar roof tiles, and they look fantastic. And from especially here in Colorado, where snow is a big deal, from what I've seen, they've held up quite well to snow. But hurricane force winds, 170 miles an hour, is a whole different beast there. So I'm with you. I hopefully will get my solar system installed this year. It's going to cut down on a lot of costs. And hey, if I'm not paying for energy to drive my car around, I'm perfectly happy with that. Um, so what else are you going to do this year? What other tech resolutions?
I am gonna take the plunge to M1 Max.
Nice.
I know that you've done it and
I
you
have.
really like it.
Yeah.
I know that Beth has done it and a couple others, and at ZDNet had done it. I'm still working on Intel currently because this I bought this one I didn't like in late actually very early 2019, so early 2020.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's a
pretty new.
2009, it's a 2019 2020 era
Yeah.
Intel Mac, MacBook Pro 16. It's a nice machine, um, but I do want to run a MacBook, either a Mac Mini probably. With whether I do it early in the year or if I do it towards later in the year, I'm not sure. I was waiting for the 16 gig ones to become available, so hopefully I can start ordering. I can order one and it'll come in a reasonable period of time. I want to get my wife off her Windows 10, 5-year-old Windows 10 machine. It's starting to clunk around. I just don't want to be an IT administrator anymore in my own
Yeah,
house. Look, I got nothing against Windows. I got nothing against Microsoft. I use plenty of Microsoft stuff. I just, at the point in my life, someone once told me that, once you hit 50 years old, you want your life to be simpler.
sure.
I totally agree with it. I don't want to be an IT administrator. I already am with all this networking equipment I play with and stuff. I just don't want my desktop computers to be a full-time profession, just
Yeah,
supporting them and keeping them running in my house. I mean, the Macs, they just run. I don't really think about them on a day-to-day basis. Besides, besides having a occasional technical glitch, like
right.
we've had this morning, with like plugging stuff in and out that doesn't want to get
Yeah,
plugged in and out.
yeah,
That's there hasn't been much problems with me in terms of daily usage of being a Mac user. I mean, as a writer, I can get my writing done. I don't have to worry about all this crazy security garbage that has to be done, a constant patching and updating and stuff. Look, if your business, you need to have Windows for your line of business application. I get it, but I just don't. I don't need them in this house anymore.
yeah. I understand totally. Like you said, I did take the plunge after I reviewed the MacBook Pro, M1 MacBook Pro. I bought one for myself. I kept going back and forth between the Mac Mini and a MacBook Pro. Ultimately, went with 16 gigs of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive or SSD. I waited 5 weeks for it to be delivered, so it was a little bit of a wait when I ordered it, but it showed up a few weeks ago right before the holidays, and I have zero complaints so far. Actually, I do have one complaint, and it's related to Sony. Their webcam software, which worked perfectly on my review MacBook Pro with the M1 chip, is no longer available to download and install to work with my camera that I use to record the show. So I have an IO Gear HDMI device that mimics, a webcam being plugged into my camera or into my computer. So Sony, update the software, please. It worked. It doesn't work now because you won't let me download it. But that's the only issue I've really ran into is just that one compatibility hiccup. And I didn't realize that until this week when I went to install it and get the camera running before we started recording. But thankfully, I have that IO Gear HDMI adapter to make it work. As for me, I think in the same vein of you wanting to streamline your computers, I am making a commitment. I've already started this, and I'm going to do it throughout the rest of the year. And going all in on HomeKit and automation of all things in my home. About a year ago on this very show, I said I'm tearing out all my hubs, smart home products, all the various items. I'm tired of it. They all have their own app, their own service. Using stuff to control them is a mess. And I really did. And for about a year, I didn't have much going on as far as smart home automation or any smart home devices outside of a few cameras and random things I would test throughout the year, but nothing stuck. But however, recently I installed some HomePod minis throughout the house, which act as HomeKit hubs, as well as some Apple TVs, which are also HomeKit hubs. And it's made the process of controlling lights and creating automations much simpler and far more streamlined. I even set up a Raspberry Pi with a Homebridge software on it, which effectively mimics a HomeKit hub for all the devices that don't officially support HomeKit. So, for example, Ring has zero HomeKit support. They've said at one
Yeah,
point they were going to offer it, they don't offer it. But using Homebridge, I'm able to view all of my Ring cameras, get their motion alerts all through HomeKit on my phone, and even use that to automate various things within my office or at my house itself. So, uh, you know, throughout the rest of the year, I plan on learning how to really take advantage of Shortcuts, which is the iPhone app, iPad app, to automate some stuff. Right now, I have some home automation set up. So when I turn on the light in my office, it turns on a few other lights. It unlocks my computer via SSH, or it wakes my computer via SSH command. So by the time I walk to my desk, it's already on. It's unlocked because it connects to my watch and ready for me to start working. There's not that 10 or 15 seconds waiting for it to wake the monitor and all of that. It
yeah.
eliminates that time. So I'm going to continue messing with HomeKit. I need some motion sensors. I need some more light switches and light bulbs and stuff like that. But I'm finally committing to a home automation platform. And I didn't expect it to be a HomeKit, but it is. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, I would say, if you're gonna automate your house, try to standardize on one platform and
Yeah.
ecosystem, because if you start mixing and matching stuff, it gets really unwieldy. So obviously, I standardize on Alexa and Amazon and stuff that specifically plugs into that ecosystem. And I chose one lighting system automation company. I went with Lutron, which is pretty much flawless. And I got rid of most of my other, plugs and things like that. So that has kept things pretty normalized. I think HomeKit definitely works quite well for people who use it. I just didn't go in that direction because I've been Amazon for so long, and it just made sense to stay with Amazon. But
Sure.
yeah, if you're gonna pick two ecosystems, definitely Amazon and Apple's HomeKit system, I think, are probably the two best working ones now. I don't love Google's one. I think Google really. I don't have a nice thing to say about them because they kind of messed up their works with Nest, um, partnership system, and like I got so many devices that are still scrambling to reintegrate with them.
Yeah.
So it's really quite. I really wish Google had did a better job. I expected better of them
Yeah,
quite
I have a
frankly.
couple Nest thermostats, but those are now part of HomeKit
Right.
through my Homebridge installation. So I don't need to worry about the Nest app anymore or what account I'm signed in with or not signed in with. I'm just able to use the Home app on my iPhone or iPad or even my Mac and control it and set up automations with them directly. So, I don't think I'm going to go out and spend a couple $100 on the two different thermostats that I control right now just to make them HomeKit compatible because it's working well enough with the free installation of Homebridge. So that's good. One other topic we talked a lot about last year, especially with all of us sitting at home, was streaming and subscriptions and subscription fatigue.
Oh
And
man,
you have a lot of subscriptions, don't you?
I I actually got a point where I couldn't figure out just how many I had because I was like, okay, we got Netflix. Okay, I'm paying for that. We got Hulu. Okay, I'm paying for that. I got Amazon. Oh yeah, Amazon Prime and Amazon Video. I'm paying for that.
Yeah.
We got Apple One. Oh yeah, I'm paying for that. Oh wait, we got Disney. I'm paying for that. And wait, I got CBS. I got to have Star Trek. And well, wait, I'm also getting HBO because I'm paying for AT&T and they're giving me that. So I got like 8 of these damn things.
Yeah.
Now,
Uh,
argue it's nuts, and I don't need them all year long
No.
either.
Yeah,
So
right, right, right. Did you sign up for Discovery Plus? That launched this week.
I did not sign up for Discovery Plus.
Okay. So that's one
The
less subscription than you could
one less.
have.
Yeah, I'm really kind of hoping for consolidation in this space. I
Well,
think,
that's called a cable subscription.
yeah. Well, Disney is probably going to merge with Hulu.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know what CBS is going to end up doing. But it's like everybody. It used to be that you could have maybe like there used to be some overlap between like Prime and
Yeah.
Netflix, and but now they're each of them are getting exclusivities to content. So like you can't like you can't win at this
No, you
anymore
can't.
at all.
So you're going to streamline your subscriptions? Is that what you're going to do?
I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go back. So I'm in the same boat as you. Too many subscriptions to count. I recently sat down with my wife. We made a spreadsheet going over who was subscribed to what and how much it cost us. And I thought we had a good handle on it. And weeks later, I was thinking of stuff. Oh, yeah, I'm subscribed to that too. I need to go back and add it. And I haven't done that. I haven't gone back and added it, which is part of one of my resolutions. And that is getting more digitally organized myself. And that is organizing my Apple Music library. I was going through it just yesterday, trying to find something to listen to, and I had these random one-off songs. There was a Beach Boys song in there I'd never heard of in my library, and I had no idea how it got there. It said I had never even listened to it yet. There's a Beach Boys song in my library, and it just a lot of extra fluff and unnecessary stuff gets added to it throughout using apps and testing other items. So what I want to do is sit down and go through like my spare hard drives and see what's on those and get rid of stuff I don't need. Or my password manager is full of 700 accounts and I probably only use 30 accounts on a, regular maybe monthly basis or maybe 100 accounts quarterly. So going through and deleting not only the entries in my password manager but also deleting those accounts that exist that don't need to exist anymore. That's just a security, policy waiting to be violated. So subscription services is part of that for me personally because now I need to worry about which accounts I have and all of that. Funny story. It's going to get us distracted just a little bit, but I have Comcast service here at home, internet only, and they've been emailing me probably once a month for the last 6 months, asking me to sign up for their Flex streaming box. You get it for free if you get internet from Comcast, and it allows you to access Peacock Premium for free because you have your Comcast Xfinity subscription. So I wasn't going to do it because I didn't care to have another subscription service under my name, and then they took The Office off of Netflix, and as of January 1st, the entire catalog is only available on Peacock Premium.
Mm,
So I ordered the Flex. It's free, shows up. I figured my daughter is obsessed with The Office, as we all are, but she is really obsessed with it, and she was sad it was leaving Netflix. So I figured it's free. She could use it when she wants to watch The Office. Well, it turns out once you activate your Peacock Premium account through the Flex streaming box, you have just a full-fledged account. Login, credentials, everything. So I
mm.
disconnected the box. It's now sitting on a shelf, and I have a free Peacock Premium account. So I just, I'm trying to streamline stuff, but yet at the same time, I'm doing stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of work to get it done.
You talked about having all these accounts out there. I actually got an alert from my iPhone of all things because apparently iPhone has a way of telling you if there's been leaks of passwords.
Yep,
Uh,
it's
and,
new in
and, and
iOS 14.
yeah, it's the first time I noticed it. It says there's been a leak and all these accounts that you have on the internet have shared passwords. Go reset them immediately. And
Yeah,
yeah, I do use a shared password on some of the for the same type for a certain class of accounts, and I have a different password I use for different class of accounts. So because I don't use a password manager, I just I just know I have two or three main passwords that I use for different things, and they were compromised on like 20 different services. Last night I literally had to log into like 20 different things and reset a whole bunch of stuff like IoT systems and email platforms, all that stuff I had to reset.
yeah.
So that thing you really need to be careful of, using that stuff, shared passwords on services, and things like that. Delete stuff that you're not using. I mean, there's like 20 or 30 different things I hadn't touched in like 5 years. That there was,
Yeah.
that had to be like, what am I using this stuff for? But I'm going to think more about network and account security. I really should start taking my own advice on how I should be securing my home network, how I handle securing all these various accounts on different services. Um, I've begun transitioning over to Wi-Fi 6 for the devices that support it and the WPA3 protocol. But I'm going to probably end up going to VLAN all the IoT stuff that are still using older versions of Wi-Fi, and segment them off of my internal network. There's no reason why they
Sure.
should all be allowed to talk to each other willy-nilly. Um, I'm also going to reevaluate, all the services and internet services I use out there and make sure I'm using two-factor authentication on all of them. Most of them when I am, like my emails and stuff. But if a service offers it, I'm going to start using it. And I'm going to delete all the accounts and all the services I'm not using. It just makes sense now.
Yeah, I mean that's the only way to be. I don't know about you, but I routinely get password change request emails in the middle of the night from someone trying to get into my account.
Yeah,
Various accounts. Instagram was the latest one. I think about a week ago, I woke up to two password reset emails, um, which I have two-factor authentication enabled on. So even if they were somehow able to get into my email, which also has two-factor,
right.
they still would have struggled a bit to get into it. But it's a regular occurrence for me. It's something that unfortunately I have to deal with. So I've always, if a service offers it, two-factor is turned on immediately. It's just part of it. My password manager handles the code for me, even copies and pastes it in when I sign in. I don't have to, it's not extra work for me because of the password manager itself. So yeah, I agree with you. Getting more serious about security, network or account wise, is a smart decision and something I think even if you feel like you're doing a good job at, it's probably something you need to sit down and take another look at because there's going to be some glaring holes and weaknesses in your approach. As far as privacy goes, I have, and this goes along with wanting to transition to HomeKit and away from Amazon Alexa and Google Home, is just a different approach to privacy. I want to get more serious about my personal privacy as well as my family's privacy with our browsing habits and what we do online and the information companies store about us. So I've already switched to Safari, which I know there's still some issues there with using Safari, but it at least is a little bit more private than Chrome. And over the coming weeks, months, days, whatever, I plan on switching to like DuckDuckGo for my search engine. I tried it for a couple hours the other day and just wasn't giving me the same results as Google does, which is part of the problem. So I think having to retrain my brain, the search query that works for DuckDuckGo or other platforms is going to be part of that process. It's not going to be an overnight change at all. But and then looking at things like iOS 14's privacy labels that they have on apps now that show, what each app is collecting on you, and hopefully soon Apple hits that switch where you can opt in or opt out of all that information being shared with them, and doing an audit of what apps are on my phone or tablet, and going through a list like that. I need to get more serious about privacy and making sure it stays here with us instead of being the product on the other end of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in terms of we've been talking a lot about our digital health,
Yeah,
right, with a lot of this stuff. But frankly, we got to get into personal health. I need to get more active
yeah, so
this
do I.
year. I mean, I went to the doctor the other day just for the yearly checkup. He's like, all right, dude, you've been sitting on your butt like way too much the last year. And look, I know I need to get out and be more active. I don't know if I'm going to be, a fitness plus addict like my wife is now, but I do plan to use the activity tracking more. And I'm finally going to get on that bicycle that's been collecting dust in my garage and
Awesome.
actually get out into the open air. I'm just sick of doing nothing. I'm just like done with it. Well, Jason, looks like you got hit by a meteor, so now I'm holding the bag over here at ZDNet. Um, in closing, I'd like to say, yeah, you know what? Both of us need to get more active. We're both sitting on our butts, but you know what? When that vaccine comes out, make sure you get it. And it doesn't matter whether it's one of these new mRNA or DNA vaccines like the Moderna or the Pfizer, or one of the more traditional, what they call adenovirus vaccines or weakened virus vaccines coming out later. Um, I'm personally committed to getting one. The earlier, the better. And until then, and probably even after then, I will be exercising social distancing and using masks when I'm in public spaces. Um, I hope all of you do too. Please stay safe. Let's have this be a happy and healthy and safe 2021. I'm Jason Perlow for my colleague Jason Cipriani. Um, this is ZDNet and this is Jason Squared.